Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Okay, so today, with the release of the episode finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or now told as Captain America and the Winter Soldier, it's time to stop and rank all 6 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier from the worst to the best. And to be honest, I'm basically just ranking them from least best to best. Because, to be honest, I don't really think any of these episodes are bad. So, with that said, let's get started. And before we actually get started, be kind with my opinions, because I like all these episodes. So, don't get hate in the comments when your least favorite is so low on this list. So, for me, I like this episode. I thought there was a lot of stuff going at it. Having Sam Wilson don the Captain America suit as well as the Falcon suit mixed together, it just looks very nice. And, you know, I thought the way they kind of closed out some of the characters' arcs, such as John Walker, Sam Wilson, Isaiah Bradley, Bucky Barnes, all the characters that I thought they closed out their characters very nicely. And I thought that it brought all the action that I wanted, and really just... it brought you everything that you pretty much wanted from this series, and yeah. But the big problem here is I wanted more payoff with all the other characters. Kind of wish the action was a little bit better, and I felt like some of the reveals with some stuff just didn't feel necessary. And I kind of wish that we could have got a Thunderbolt reveal, and which is basically the same thing as getting more stuff. But everything else, the stuff that was in the episode was great. The stuff that we didn't get, wish we could have gotten, but that's why it's in last place. It's not bad or anything, it's watchable, but that's why it comes in last place. Now this is another episode that I felt like, it did a lot of stuff right with the characters. I thought that the way they continued the characters with their arcs was fantastic, and, seeing John Walker in a kind of new state of mind, we thought it was going to be the tease of him being the U.S. agent, which technically was, but it really wasn't in the next episode. But I really liked this episode. Just the characters is just fun. I love how they kind of went back to reality. I will say this, I wish that this episode had a lot more action sequences than it usually did. I wanted it to focus more on action than more of the real life stuff that the characters go through. But overall, still a very good episode. Just wish they had more action, wish it focused more on the plot of the series. Now this is an episode that I think does a lot of the great things right. Introducing John Walker as the new Captain America, introducing Isaiah Bradley into the mix, having that little character arc with Bucky and Sam. Bucky not understanding why he gave up the shield and didn't take not understanding of why Sam didn't take up the mantle as Captain America. There's a lot of things that go for it right. The problem here is that I just felt like that it did too much, and it kind of didn't really underestimate the story very well of this series. So, and I felt like because it had a lot of shots from the trailers, it made me kind of skeptical for the series, but still kind of excited because they introduced Isaiah Bradley and Battlestar, which are two major comic book characters from the comics, from the Captain America comic books, And I kind of liked how they brought in characters from the comic books of Captain America, because you can bring in so many other characters from the Captain America comic books. You can even introduce Patriot, Isaiah Bradley's grandson. So I really like the way they kind of brought characters from the Captain America comic books. It also made some new arcs for the characters. Now this is the episode where I felt like that the story kind of came well together for me. Well, not the full story, but half of it. And it really has to do with back to episode 2, where it kind of explained of why the Flag Smashers stole the vaccines and the medicines, and that was to save Mother Danya, even though they couldn't technically save her, which did not end well for her in the end. But I thought that the story behind that was actually pretty cool. But other than that, this is still a very action-packed episode. I mean, bringing Zemo into the mix and adding him to the little group that they have. I thought that this group is better than the group with Darcy, Monica, and Jimmy in WandaVision, because that's kind of like the little group that they have in WandaVision. So, also bringing Sharon Carter back into the mix. She has a very interesting story, how she's been on the run since Civil War, and she has this big character arc with Sam and Bucky, as none of the Avengers were able to bail her out and able to call her name out and get her name forward. So there's just a lot of things I loved about this episode, and I just felt like it kind of made me understand the story a little bit. For me, this is probably one of the best Falcon and the Winter Soldier episodes of all time. It really just does everything you want. It handles the character arcs, it handles the action, it handles the plot itself. I thought that this was the episode where I felt like I understood the plot mostly. And of course, the best thing about this episode is Bucky, where because the Wakandans are introduced at the end of episode 3, you start to see Bucky's past, as how he became with White Wolf out of the Winter Soldier out, and it's like, I didn't say out, I don't know why I said that. And it just does it in so many interesting ways. And when the Dora Milaje fight John Walker, I was like, this is really cool. When they're like throwing the things at them, and then it's like, this is cool. It handles the action, it handles the characters right, it handles the story overall great, and even the plot twist at the end where Captain America kills a Flag Smasher in the middle of the whole world. It's just satisfying. So I really like this episode. Now for me, I understand that a lot of people say that episode 4 was the best episode of the series, but for me, I felt like that episode 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier was easily my favorite of the series. And it's always been, because I just loved everything about this episode. When we get introduced to this, the first scene where Falcon is like flying through and he just takes down all these helicopters and fights George Batroc, the villain from Captain America the Winter Soldier, at the beginning when Captain America is fighting all the soldiers and pirates on the boat. Just an amazing sequence. We get to see different types of Falcon's fighting style, and then we also get some other action in the mix where Bucky is having his nightmare and he's fighting a couple of guys, shooting them in the face, throwing knives, and actually shoots someone, which we'll get into that in a little bit. And then he shows him a scene where he takes over a car and then punches someone in the face. And so the action is just fantastic in this episode. It's just overall phenomenal. But the big thing about this episode that I absolutely loved is the characters. the characters just feel so real. Like, both characters, both Bucky and Sam, have arcs in this episode throughout the entire show. You have Sam. He actually has 2 arcs, where the first arc is that he's trying to get this loan for this boat that his family has, and then he has the other arc where where he basically has the arc of being the next Captain America. Obviously, he doesn't become Captain America in this episode because he puts it in the museum, and then it gets on to John Walker. But the way it starts, the way it kind of starts the arc, I thought it worked really well. And then with Bucky, I thought it worked really nicely. With now that he's free from being the Winter Soldier, now that he's free from being a Hydra soldier, now that he's free from being a dangerous criminal, from being a dangerous assassin, he's finally free to do whatever he wants. And it's hard to process for him for that, and it's so satisfying to see this character with this arc. And in episode 6, his arc with telling Yuri that he killed his son, and that it was just so satisfying, in him making amends. The way they do everything, it's just so satisfying. So in the last episode, so for me, episode 1, New World Order, is my favorite episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's why it comes in at number 1. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My Instagram name is Marvel6. My TikTok name is Marvel1Fan. If you guys don't understand those names, head to my about section so you can follow me on those social medias. Also, I'm also on Letterboxd, so you can follow me on that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.